Namaste. We are going into talk about and detail about the various heads of income. That is our focus for the next multiple sessions. Okay. So, in the income slide, I told you that the classification or division of income under income tax law is under 5 heads. Okay, salaries, house property, business or profession, capital gains, and other sources. Slowly, we are going to walk into each and every head of income, and the first, the most interesting, the absolutely dynamic head is salary. So, this is salary chapter which is going to go on for a very longer time. Multiple units are going to be there. Lot of understanding needs to be there. Okay. Why? Why is that salary gets so much of importance in our inter-syllabus or generally? My dear friends, the largest number of taxpayers, the largest number of taxpayer is falling under the head salary. The largest number of taxpayer, I am not saying in terms of collection, I am saying in terms of numbers. Okay, let's take TCS, let's take Infosys, let's take Reliance. There will be lakhs of employees who will be coming under the salary bracket and paying taxes under this head. So, collectively, the number of people who will fall under this particular head is more. It covers a wide gambit of people. That is why this chapter gets enormous prominence. That too at our inter level, this is one or the most important topic. Okay. This leads us to a question. First, tell us what is salary. What exactly or what type of income will fall under salary? An organization pays to professionals, pays to middlemen, pays to agent, pays for resources utilization, pays to employees also. When money is paid to a professional, it is known as a fees. When money is paid to middleman, we call it as brokerage. When money is paid to agents, we call it as commission. When money is paid for resources, we call it as rent or royalty. But only one type of payment is falling under the term salary, when it is paid to employees. An organization paying to employees will fall under this terminology called salary. So, we can say salary means between the payer and the receiver, there should be employer-employee relationship. Okay? Between the payer and the receiver, there should be employer-employee relationship. Then, for the receiver, that is the employee, the amount received will be treated as salary. Okay? What is this employer-employee relationship? It is close to that of master-servant relationship, where one person is able to command and the other person is liable to abide by that command. So, the first principal test for an income to be classified as salary is between the payer and the receiver, there should be employer-employee relationship. If this relationship is not there, I am not saying it is not at all taxable. It is not taxable under this head. Some other head might tax it. This head, the primary factor is employer-employee relationship. Can we measure that relationship, or can we check whether in these following cases this employer-employee relationship is there or not? Okay, let's go. Let's try to understand. Master-servant relationship. Director of a company. For a director of a company, is there an employer-employee relationship? Is the income received for the director a salary? The answer is yes. The company has do's and don'ts for a director. The law also has, the company also has. He works for the company, he earns the remuneration, so will be taxable under salary. The director of a company is very much falling under the term employee, and the money received or the remuneration received by him will be taxable as salary. Sometimes there will be some independent directors. Sometimes there will be some directors who are not working on a day-to-day basis, or not even on part-time basis, for attending board meetings, for various things they are paid. We call it as non-employee director. The word itself is clear, right? Non-employee. So if the company pays them something, will it fall under salary? No. Remember, I am not saying it is not taxable. I am just saying it is not taxable under this head called salaries. There are other heads to take care of that. Okay. So, for a non-employee, not regarded as salary. Not regarded as salary. It is not taxable under the head salary. The third, which is very interesting to understand, family pension. I am covering one particular type of family pension. Let us take that Mr. X, an employee, died. His benefits, pension, etc. are paid by the company now to the legal representative of Mr. X. It is paid by the company to the legal representative of Mr. X, Mrs. X, or his sons. Okay, so let us take, the company pays pension or various benefits to Mrs. X. For Mrs. X, is it taxable under the head salaries? The answer is no, because between the company and Mrs. X, there is no employer-employee relationship. Again, I am not saying it is not at all taxable. I am just saying it is not taxable under salary. Family pension, pension received by family members after death of an employee, not regarded as salaries. Okay, because employer-employee relay, only the first test here is employer-employee relationship. Friends, every chapter will have a gate. Every chapter will have a gate. Okay, we have all been taught, and we have grown up listening to the stories of Aladdin saying, "Tirandid sise, open sise." Okay, so the gate has some rules. If you fulfill that rules, the gate will open. Here, employer-employee relationship is the gate. If that relationship is not there, this gate is closed. Go to some other gate. Okay, which will open and where there will be tax. For this gate to open, there should be employer-employee. So, director of a company, it will open because relationship subsists. Relationship exists. Okay, next, remuneration paid to High Court or Supreme Court judges. Remuneration paid to High Court or Supreme Court judges, okay, will be falling under salaries. Okay, they are known as government servant. Okay, they are known as government servant or government employees. Okay, it will be falling under the term salaries. Honorarium paid to MPs and MLAs. Is it coming under the term salary? Are you nodding your head? But the answer is no. It is not salary. Who is paying? Government. Do you think government is employing them? Is government appointing them? No. You know, they are not known as government servants. They are known as public servants. MPs and MLAs are not known as government servants. They are known as public servants. They are supposed to do public service. Let's not talk more about it. Okay? So, payer government, receiver MPs and MLAs, employer-employee relationship does not subsist. That doesn't mean I'm not saying it is not taxable. I'm just saying it is not taxable as salary, not regarded as salary. Okay? Last, paid to a partner of a firm. Salary paid to a partner of a firm. Okay? Right? Actually, this is not falling under salary. I will talk about more about this when I am coming to some other chapter where you will get some clarity. As of now, between the partner and the firm, there is no employer-employee relationship. So, it will not be taxable under salary. Okay? So, friends, to tax an income under a particular head, to tax an income under a particular head, between the, under this particular head, under salary, between the payer and the receiver, there should be employer-employee relationship. Only then the gate will open, otherwise it will not be. Okay? Right. When I say employer-employee, the employee might be a full-time employee or a part-time employee. He might be a full-time employee or a part-time employee. Both are taxable under this particular head. Okay? He need not be only a full-time. It can even be a part-time. Okay? So, what happens in some cases? Let me give you an example. That is, employer is going to pay me some bonus. Okay? Diwali bonus, employer is going to pay me. What I feel is, I want to contribute my Diwali bonus to a orphanage, to a trust. Let us take that I want to contribute my Diwali bonus to Shivananda Gurukulam, to the children there who need support. I want to give the Diwali bonus to Shivananda Gurukulam. So what I tell my employer is, don't pay me. Pay directly the bonus to Shivananda Gurukulam. What am I saying? Don't pay me. Pay the bonus directly to Shivananda Gurukulam. I am foregoing my benefit. I am foregoing my salary. Is it taxable? The answer is yes. Yes, it is taxable. Instead of you getting it in your pocket, going to Shivananda Gurukulam and donating, you are asking the employer to donate. It is actually passing through you. It is actually passing through you. So, yes, it is taxable under salaries. Any benefit which is foregone also is taxable. Foregoing of salary. Please write in your notebook. Foregoing of salary is taxable in the hands of the employee. You foregoing does not mean income tax department will forego the tax. You foregoing your generous nature, but that doesn't mean the revenue seeking law will not accept. But one exception is there, only for central government employees. Only for central government employees, if they surrender the salary in a scheme, in a central government scheme, if they surrender the salary, it will not be taxable. Not from the academic perspective, generally know that. Okay. I want to give you a small intro about arrears of salary. Arrears of salary is different from salary due. I want the class to understand this. Arrears of salary is different from salary due. Okay. For example, if I say March month salary outstanding, this is known as salary due. March month salary outstanding, this means that the salary is due for the month of March. This does not mean salary is in arrears. This does not mean salary is arrears. This means salary is due. You will read this very popularly in newspapers and all. Government increases salary with effect from 1st April 2020. In the month of December 2020, for example, I am saying, in the month of December 2020, government enters into an agreement with the union saying that their salary will be increased by 1,000 rupees per month with a retrospective effect from 1st April 2020. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. This 8 months increment is popularly known as arrears. Arrears is not something which has not been paid. Arrears in our income tax law, literal language is different. Our tax law says arrears is an increment with a retrospective effect. Increment with a retrospective effect is known as arrears. So, okay, once this is agreed upon, that is, this increase is agreed upon, it is known as arrears of salary. So, what is arrears? Write down. Arrears means increase in salary with a retrospective effect. Increase in the salary with a retrospective effect. Full stop, continue. It becomes taxable only in the year in which it is agreed upon. Only in the year in which it is agreed upon. I hope you are all clear. Outstanding salary and arrears of salary are different. Okay, totally. This chapter, salary chapter, is covering section 15 to 17. Okay, if you look at our salary chapter, okay, salary, is from section 15 to 17, okay, of the act. Okay, section 15 to 17. I told you 5 heads. Each head will cover a number of sections. Every time the first section will tell you what is popularly known as basis of charge. On what basis I am going to charge? Okay, so here section 15 tells us basis of charge. On what basis? That salary is going to be taxable. Section 15 tells us on what basis salary is taxable. Here is the basis of charge. Salary is taxable either on due basis or on receipt basis, whichever comes first, whichever is earlier. Shall I repeat? Salary is taxable either on due basis or on receipt basis. Sir, March month salary, the company's policy is they will pay the salary 7th of the subsequent month. April, May 7th, May, June 7th, June, July 7th, like that they will pay. So March month salary they will pay only on April 7th. April 7th. But in which month it becomes taxable means it becomes taxable in the month of March itself, because it is due on March 31st but received on April 7th. What is the law? Salary is taxable either on due basis or on receipt basis, whichever is earlier. Shall we see one more example? Mr. X goes to his employer and says, "Sir, I have my daughter's wedding coming up, or I have my housing commitment. So can you pay April and May salary in March itself? I want some salary advance. Can you pay April and May salary, or April, May, June salary in March itself?" And the employer also says, "Fine, I'll pay your salary in advance." So in the month of March, he gets the salary of April, May, June. Normally, next year only it should be taxable. But now he has received it in the month of March itself. So it will become taxable in the current year itself. Why? Salary is taxable either on due or on receipt, whichever is earlier. So if March month salary is paid in April, it is taxable in March. If in the month of March, if you receive some salary advance, it is also taxable in the month of March. Once I tax it on receipt, I will not again tax it on due basis. Are we clear? Okay. Salary is taxable either on receipt or on due, whichever comes first. Sir, why whichever comes first? Because this is revenue seeking law. Government wants revenue and they will immediately tax it. Okay. I will again repeat it when we progress and see one by one the line items, because I want to make it clear to you. The next concept to understand is place of accrual of salary. Where exactly is salary taxable? Okay, where services are rendered. Salary is taxable where services are rendered. An employee of a foreign company, let us take that the company in India imports machinery from Germany. The Indian company purchases or imports machine from Germany. That machine has to be installed. So the company, the selling company, German company policy is we will send 2 engineers who will work for 5 months in installation and quality check of this machine. 2 employees for 5 months are coming and working in India. The German company pays salary to those employees. Is it taxable in India? The answer is yes. Salary accrues at a place where services are rendered. Where is that engineer service rendering? He is rendering it in India because he is installing the machine in India. So, services are rendered in India. Hence, it is taxable, that salary. Place of accrual of salary. Because in the last units we saw scope of total income where we said assets located in India, resource located in India, money utilized in India, business in India. For salary, place or in which services are rendered. But sometimes it happens. One exception is there to this rule. Place of rendering of service. One exception. Indian ambassador to US. Indian High Commissioner to UK. Where are they actually located? In US or UK. Who is paying them salary? Indian government. For them, that money is taxable in India. Though physically they are located there, but the services are rendered to Indian government. So, for high commissioners, ambassadors located outside India, it is taxable in India. Okay? The next is definition of salary. Well, section 17 gives a definition which is just a list of items which are going to be taxable under salary. My only wish now is we are not going to look greatly into this definition as of now because I want you to go through the entire chapter, then come back and see this definition, you will be able to understand. Okay? As of now, the term salary is an inclusive definition which has been saying wages, annuity and pension, gratuity, fees, commission, perquisite or profit in lieu, any advance salary, okay, which I told you it is taxable on receipt basis, okay, leave encashment, provident fund and contribution towards an pension fund. All these things will form under the definition, but as of now you cannot understand this. My only wish is let us complete the entire chapter. When you come back to this, you will be easily able to tick each and every item of it. Okay? So, we just know we are starting from a very, very small level. The purpose of this unit is to tell you what is employer-employee relationship and whether that relationship exists, then the gate opens. And the purpose is also to give you a brief about each concept. Remember, salary is taxable on due or receipt basis. In the next unit, we will walk into the chapter to understand more about salary. Meet you in the next unit to discuss more on salary. All the very best.